Hello my angels, and welcome back to The Library is Open. So I hope you brought your library cards, my darlings. Hope you're all well. Today's video is going to be a tag video, and it's probably the last video you'll see before Christmas, Hanukkah, Kwanzaa, the festive season, if you will. Whatever you happen to celebrate at this time of year. And the reason for that is because I've had to do a radical kind of rethink on what I was planning to do for my advent calendar series that I promised to do. So you may remember that quite a while ago, I can't remember exactly when, I asked you for the kind of content that you would like to see for the end of the year. And one of my lovely subscribers, who is a big fan of kind of the Hallmark style Christmas movies, although I'm kind of waning on that in light of recent events. But hey ho, those kind of feel good holiday romances that are quite cliche but ultimately heartwarming. Had asked for kind of book equivalents of those, and so my plan was to do a sort of 12 days of Christmas starting on the 14th of December and then finishing on the 25th, the day itself, with a kind of book a day in a kind of advent calendar format, if you will. And I was going to do them as short videos, and they would also have included, you know, Hanukkah romances, Kwanzaa stories, winter solstice, anything and everything that anyone celebrates at this time of year. So flash forward to me recording all of those, which took absolutely hours, and scheduling them for each day. And what I did was I wanted to add in music and, you know, just general festive silliness and stuff, and I did that. And as I say, it took ages, and then YouTube instituted a copyright claim against each and every one of them. Now, I would like to preface by saying that YouTube, when you create a short video on your channel, offers you to add sounds or music. So my question really is, why offer that opportunity and then not allow creators to use the music? What on earth is the point of that? Anyway, long story short, because I don't want to get banned for this or something, for speaking out, speaking my truth. What I'm going to do instead is I will still do the Advent Calendar series, but this is going to be in the form of posts in my community tab on my channel. So I will still release everything I would have done, but it won't be in video format, unfortunately. It will be in the form of posts. So, I mean, it's not all bad. You'll be able to see images of the books that I'm talking about there, like one for each day, like you would open an advent calendar, and a blurb about them, and some links for more information. It's just not quite as fun as it might have been, but there again, what can I do? So that's just a little bit of info. So they will start on the 14th with day one, obviously, and then on Christmas Day there will be a post as well. So I do apologise for that, but don't blame me, blame the YouTube overlords. But anyway, back here in the library, the library is festive because it is December, my loves. I've got my Spice World Christmas jumper on there from a couple of years ago, and I've got my little green hat. Not because I'm a purist about Santa Claus or anything like that, I just really like green. And today I'm going to do the evolution of a reader tag, which I was tagged in by the very, very lovely Charlie Brooke. Link down below in the description. And these are questions basically about how you've evolved as a reader, I guess, over the course of your life, but maybe also on Booktube, probably a combination of the two. And I thought that'd be quite a nice little wrap-up-y video. You may have noticed that I haven't done as much content lately, which is, it's fine. But the reason for that is A, busyness. This time of year is really, really busy at work. And two, I have just had COVID, so I'm still kind of getting over it. Absolutely, if you want the truth, laid me out. Yeah, there's that. It's a bit of a conversational stopper, really, isn't it? I feel like I'm betraying the season by using my pumpkin cup here. Shouldn't have shown you the logo because Starbucks aren't paying me. But hey ho. So yeah, there's been a lot going on. Exciting things have happened though. So my adaptation of The Rover, which is a play by Afra Ben, was on first week of December. That was exciting. Managed to get to see it. I was just about well enough and testing negative, so managed to get to see that. My new version of Notre Dame de Paris, the adaptation of the Victor Hugo novel, will be on next year in the Space on the Isle of Dogs in London. Well, not in London, it's on the Isle of Dogs, but you get the idea. So that's exciting. What else is happening? Oh yeah, and ALGEBRA, the play that I've mentioned before, is coming back and will be on at the Unity Theatre in Liverpool in March. So I've kind of been going to design and production meetings for that as well as keeping my full-time job at the university. So it's been a lot, but I'm still finding time to read. I'm using my commute very, very heavily. My boss was joking about that the other day. They were like, how do you even update your channel anymore? And I'm like, well, it's a good question, but I love my work, so there's that. But anyway, yes, so the evolution of the reader tag, and again, thanks to Charlie for tagging me and for providing such an interesting video yourself. It was really, really lovely to watch. So it's 5 questions, fairly standard. Let's talk, shall we? So, first question. What you read. How has your taste in books evolved? Okay, this is an interesting question because I think I've always been a reader from childhood. You know, I often sort of say that books were some of my earliest friends. That's not meant to be a sad thing. It just is what it is. I spent a lot of time in the company of books, and I had from a young age, quite specific tastes. I was much more interested always in reading series of books rather than kind of one-off ones. So I'd latch onto a series, I think because I wanted the kind of continuing like relationship with the characters, I suppose. I find it less hard now, but I used to find it quite hard to just kind of finish the book and that was it. You know, I like to know that the world continued beyond. I don't know, maybe in some ways that explains why I got into, you know, the theatre and stuff like that, which is because, you know, the whole idea is that that world we get a glimpse into, but it continues to exist beyond the constraints of the page or the stage. So maybe there's something there. And I stuck to that quite a lot, really. And you know, the older I got, again, similar, that's kind of when I developed my interest in crime, you know, my deep and passionate love for Agatha Christie and the continuing series. And then I very sort of slowly started to branch out into reading more, I guess what we call literary fiction. But as you know, I don't really believe in, you know, distinctions in that respect. I think you should just read what you enjoy. But I think I'm much more open now to reading a much wider variety of genres and kind of subjects or around subjects and stuff. There's stuff that I pick up now that I wouldn't have picked up 5 years ago, definitely not 10 years ago. So I don't know, maybe as well that's come with becoming a writer as well, and you're just a lot more, I guess, immersed in the craft of writing and the appreciation of it, maybe. I don't know. But yeah, and I think being on Booktube has really, really helped as well, because I sort of feel pressure is the wrong word, but an obligation almost to cover a wide variety of things, because I want people to maybe, you know, they don't find what they're looking for in what I would typically read. Just took my glasses off for no reason, but there we go. But, you know, I kind of want to give something that everybody can enjoy on lots of different levels, which you may have noticed in my content. So hopefully that's a thing. And also, you know, the library's open book club, which is such a joy and has a really kind of loyal membership that I'm really, really grateful for. When we meet on Zoom, it's just a joyful time of a Sunday evening. And, you know, giving over kind of control of what books we read and engage with as part of that book club is really been really good for me. We've read a lot of things that I wouldn't have picked up but have really, really enjoyed. So I think that's how I've changed. I think I'm much more open now. The only thing I don't think I'm that open to is, it's not so much that I'm not open, but like romance as a general rule hasn't been a genre that I've gravitated towards, although my advent calendar is going to fix that. And also westerns as well. I'm not a huge fan of a western, nothing against them. I also find sci-fi, like hardcore sci-fi, quite difficult still, but I think I'm slowly getting there, again, through the book club. So yeah, I think that's how my reading taste has developed. Okay, question 2. Sorry, I'm just having to read this off a laptop because I've took my glasses off now, stupidly. What you read, how has the format of your reading changed much? Yes, I think so. I will always I do and will always probably prefer a physical book. I'm getting very, very into hardbacks at the moment. I sound like Vanessa Hudgens there, don't I? I'm so into hardbacks right now. But, you know, I love the tactility of books. I mean, paperbacks are fine, but I enjoy a hardback. I like the heft of it in my hands. And now I actually have a job that pays well. You know, I can kind of afford a hardback every now and then. Not, you know, not bragging or anything, I just mean, you know. But that being said, I do enjoy reading on a Kindle, particularly at night. Now, I don't have an actual Kindle, but I do have the app on my phone. And obviously, there's loads of money to be saved there, and there's lots of free stuff, which is great. Other e-readers are available. But also, over this past year or so, I've got very, very into audiobooks. Much more than I ever had been. Not because I was ever snobby about audiobooks or anything like that, but just because, I don't know, maybe there's something about reading an actual physical book that, like, I like the tactility of, as I've said, but when you're listening to an audiobook, you kind of just sit there or you're doing something else. So something about that was always quite difficult for me. But again, encouraged by people on this channel, I have really, really got into them a lot more lately. And my new habit is doing jigsaws. My new toxic trait is doing jigsaws and listening to like a full audiobook. I normally listen to them on like 1.5 speed just to kind of really get through them. But then I also like to listen to them at night, just when I'm going off to sleep, really, really low. There's just something about that soft hum of the text in the background that is soothing to me. So sue me. Question 3. How much do you read? Do you read more or less than previously? When do you read? Has that changed? So I think probably since having... I think when I was a kid, I read a lot all the time. I could do a book in a day, but they were kids' books. So I think I read probably more now generally, mostly because of the channel and because of A, recommendations, or B, things that I need to get through for videos that I want to make. I have a regular commute now with work, so I'm reading a lot then, and I like to read at night as well. But I'm also trying to get into the habit of, which I think I've done over the past year, of going, you know what, reading time is not like an additional extra when there's nothing else to do. I can make time for reading. Now, it does go in phases. We all have, like, book slumps. We've talked about it a lot. And sometimes I'm just really not in the mood. And I have to be careful not to drop into a complete slump. But then again, maybe reading a lot of different formats helps with that. So, but I think as a general rule, I read more now than I did. I don't think it's any less pleasurable, although there is sometimes a time frame now. So I feel the kind of, again, not bad pressure, but pressure to steam through the book and finish it so that I can talk about it on the channel with you lot. So, yeah, kind of 50-50 really, yeah, but mostly it goes through phases. So, yeah, more, I think, more. Yeah. When do you read? Well, I've just answered that, haven't I? I've just told you that. In the morning, first thing, on my commute, and at night. The only time I don't read really is during the middle of the day if I've got work on, because I find myself too easily distracted by having to like get tasks done. But other than that, pretty much whenever, wherever. To coin a Shakira song. Number 4, how has Booktube changed you as a reader? Now, I've kind of touched on this a little bit, I think, with everything that I just kind of mentioned in the previous 3 questions, but mostly it's been about expanding my, not only my repertoire, but also my yeah, it's been about finding common links that I didn't realise were there, I think, a lot of time with the stuff that I'm reading. So things around resonance, I guess, between books and, you know, taking recommendations and then finding patterns in the things that I'm reading, which really helps me to talk about the books to you lot as well, because then I can sort of go, oh, if you liked this, you might like this, or, oh, isn't it interesting how in this book this is a similar feeling or a similar expression of emotion as expressed in this book, albeit slightly differently. I hope that makes sense. But I do definitely think that it's made me buy more books as well. Like watching other people's channels has definitely made me buy more books. But it has made reading feel more like a community pursuit, which I just love. I really, really do, rather than a solitary thing, because obviously you're sat there listening or reading, scrolling, whatever, with your reading, and it can be not lonely in a bad way, but it can feel very much like a you and the book thing. Whereas now I almost feel like I have the voices of you lovely people who watch kind of in my ear or sat on my shoulder or something, and I'm thinking about how I'm going to talk about the book as well as experiencing it. So I think maybe it's changed me in not only what I read, but the way that I read, or the way that I approach talking about reading. So I hope that all makes sense. So there we go. And the fifth question is to tag some people. Now, I'm not going to tag anyone on Booktube, only because, not because I'm a spoil sport, but because the people who I would tag have already been tagged by other people, including Charlie. So what I'm going to do is throw that open to you to tag yourselves, if you will. Pick one of those questions. I'll put the questions in the description, and I'll link back to the originator of the tag as well. And you pick a question, pick all 5 questions if you like, and let me know in the comments what your evolution of the reader, of you as a reader, has been. As always, I love to hear the comments. I don't always get back in time, I'm afraid, and sometimes it's a couple of days later that I reply to your comments, but I do read them all, and I do really value the fact that you make time to spend time with me. That really does mean a lot to me. So there we go. Evolution of a reader tag for the end of 2022. So what I'm going to do now is wish you a very, very happy December, a very happy Hanukkah, a very happy Kwanzaa, a very happy Christmas, a very happy winter solstice, a jolly time, whatever you do, however you celebrate, even if you don't celebrate. Happy December. We got through another year, so well done us. But do keep your eye out on the community tab if you're subscribed to me for the advent calendar posts, which will begin on Wednesday the 14th of December and lead right up to Christmas Day itself on the 25th. In the meantime, keep yourself toasty warm. It's absolutely Baltic here at the moment, and give yourself a little break if you can. You know, it's been a rough year for a lot of us in many ways, and you know, I think we all need a little bit of comfort and joy, don't we? But in the meantime, thanks for being here as always. The library's now closed. Put your festive library cards somewhere safe, and I'll see you very, very soon. Bye bye, my darlings. Mwah.